This is Coach Wilcoxon, Bloodline Sports. Got a great video here for you guys to watch. If you guys, all you football fans, get ready. We got a great special guest here, Coach Jordan Somerville, assistant to the quarterbacks coach of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's been climbing the ladder very, very fast. So we're so happy to have you here, Jordan. How you doing?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Good. I know it's late for you guys. Most of you guys are on the East Coast. So we really appreciate you coming in and talking with us. And my partners, I'll start with Alex Vicario. He's out in Orange County. How you doing, Al?
I'm doing well. Thank you, TJ.
Good. Nick Sciacca, he's also in Orange County. So the three of us own Bloodline Sports, and we are proud to just do everything we're doing for these kids. We got a lot of we have over about 80 kids playing college sports right now, and these kids here are going to go on and be playing on Saturdays real soon. So, Nick, I'll hand it over to you and you to introduce all the players.
Sure. So first up, we have Brisbane Ritter out of Montana. Brisbane, you want to introduce yourself and give us a little background, buddy?
Yep, I'm from North Montana, Havre High School, small town, old. I'm 5'11", 215 pounds. I'm going to be a linebacker. I'm going to be playing football at Rocky Mountain College.
That's awesome. Bryce Daniels, how about yourself, buddy?
I'm Bryce Daniels. I'm 6'4", 295 pounds. I play O-line at Keystone Heights in Florida.
All right. Camden Goforth, how about you?
Hey, I'm Camden Goforth. I'm 6'4", 290 from McMinn County High School in Tennessee. I play guard and tackle.
And Cameron Melvin. Nice to see you, buddy.
Hey, I'm Cameron Melvin, class of 26, linebacker, D-line from Cleveland High School.
Coach Somerville, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, Coach, good to finally meet you. I've heard a lot about you. TJ talks a lot about you, and it's good to see you in person, or at least see your face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks again. So we're going to go around. I know the kids, there you go. The dudes have a question for you. So I'll just kind of get their name out there. They'll ask you a question, respond. Again, guys, if someone asks a question, if you want to add on or, ask another question that's related, feel free. Real informal, and just make sure, you're having fun with it. We'll start off with Briz. Briz, you got a question?
I sure do. All right, Jordan. What advice could you give an incoming freshman football player like me when it comes to successfully balancing academics, athletics, and social life?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so the first thing I would say to you is kind of get it out of your head to have an equal balance to all. Okay, because that's not a reality. You can't have an equal balance in your athletic career, an equal balance in academics, and an equal balance in your social life. It's just not possible, especially in college football. But I do think you can find your own healthy balance, and it starts with prioritizing, right? So that's the biggest thing I would tell you is find your priorities, and where do you want to be at in terms of football, academic, and then your social life. And so you got to answer that one. You know what I mean? We can all sit here and tell you the right answer: academics, football, social life. But you got to feel it in your heart, your soul. What is priority number one for me? You know what I mean? And that's what you're going to put forward best, right? And then that you might fall flat on your face, and you gotta understand that's going to be part of it, and having a support system around you to pick yourself back up. You know what I mean? And that order you may find reordering at times, and I'll tell you from my experience, getting into coaching, and TJ knows this because it was all bang bang from working for TJ previously, but going from not in the athletic world in college at the time, and I kind of jumped into it, and I realized my priorities. I got started as a student assistant at Arizona State. My priorities were at the time academics, and I wanted to the same way in high school. I wanted to do the best I could academically and strive myself to the best I can be there. And then everything kind of followed afterwards, right? And so I would say for me, when I got into a student assistant role at Arizona State, for me, what made sense for me and kind of the career path I wanted to go, priority was work and football. And so luckily, I get to say that football was my work at the time. Um, and so that shot up to number one. And I found academically for me, right, was I dropped down to around like a 3.2. I can't remember. It's like a 3.2, but that wasn't the world I was accustomed to just because of I held myself to a high standard. Um, but I knew that I can't be a perfect 4.0 student and still do football at a high level. And I'm not saying that you can't do both at a high level. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is you got to find your own balance. That was my balance. And I would just say that. I would have it, don't have it in your head everything's going to be perfect 33, 33, 33 split. That's not real. And you're going to give yourself, you're going to try to make everything balanced, and you're going to end up faltering and failing in all areas if you try to perfectly slice everything out.
Well, that's awesome because I thought you were going to say to start off with, be prepared to not have a social life.
Well, hey, and that's part of it. Like and to tell you the truth, I cut that third slice out of it. Like for me, it was realistically, it was about 80-20, 0% social life. I did not have, and do I look back and wish I was a little more social? A little bit, but like what TJ's saying, like you got to sacrifice that if you want to speed up your career path. And that's kind of, what are you willing to give up?
But you think about you're coaching in the NFL, and you get that good win, and coach says, "Hey, we got tomorrow off," or you're right, Monday off, right?
Yeah.
So that's the time where, because if you're in the NFL, you got a routine, right? You're waking up at the same time, you're doing your training, your breakfast, everything you're doing. Like it's a routine from every day.
Yeah.
And so when you get that day off, when coach says, "Hey, no practice Monday," that's the time where you can go, all right, let's go socialize. Let's maybe go golf, or let's do something and get away from football, right? Yeah. Then it makes you, when you get back in it the next day, you're more engaged, more focused. So there are times where you need that break, right? Because if it's just all football, you're going to go crazy, right?
No, you're 100% right.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. All right, let's go to Bryce. Bryce, you got a question for Coach?
Yes, sir. With talent being equal, what is one thing that separates someone from succeeding in college athletics and underachieving?
Oh, that's a good one. Talent being equal. Talent being equal. I would say it really comes down to very similar to what we talked about before. What are you willing to give up? And what I mean by that is your time. So all talent being equal, some guys may spend the time that they do have maybe on the phone, right? Or kind of mind elsewhere, whereas they could be spending their time kind of drilling in to playbook in regards to that, or building a relationship with teammates. It doesn't necessarily, like what TJ said, building off of that, it doesn't necessarily have to be work, but I would say the difference maker when it comes to talent is how intentional you are with your time. A guy I really saw just in my coaching career, really intentional with his time, was Bo Nix at Oregon. And it wasn't always playbook, but it was building relationship with teammates. It was very intentional about how he was using his time. And it wasn't, he spent every day, I would say he's a guy that, like, every day was full for him, right? He wasn't going to let a day go by without accomplishing something, and that accomplishment may have just been building up a guy that may be slipping down on the depth chart. You know what I mean? Hey, let me go. I got some time. Let me go break bread with a receiver of mine. You know what I mean? And so that's the best answer to that. I would say intentionality with your time, and that can be a variety of things.
Thank you, Coach.
I love that. I'm going to steal
Yeah.
that. Intentionality with your time. I love it.
Have a purpose, right?
Right.
Yep.
Have a plan and a purpose. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Camden, question for Coach.
What are the main things a student athlete should consider when choosing a college?
Main things student athletes should consider choosing a college. I would lean on like as an athlete, your priorities. What do you want to accomplish long term, right? And that college and that organization has to align with your goals and your aspirations uh, of what you want to accomplish. So whether that be an academic school, make sure that what you want to accomplish academically, right? I've seen it. I've seen it happen before where guys and they don't talk about it with the university of what they want to go in and study, and they show up at that university and they don't have it, and they end up going elsewhere, and that's okay. But if you have your mind set on, I want to go and study a certain type of business, right? And business communications is very broad. If they want to be very specific about what they want to study in business, and that's not there, right? That's one thing that you could have avoided that from the jump, right? You make sure, right, that my priorities are straight in terms of what I want to study academically. What does the university or organization look like um, away from school, right? Like we talk about social life. That is a critical aspect. I know you mentioned small town, right? Like, do I want to go to a big town? I may have never experienced a big town, right? Things along those lines, I would say, and making sure because it is a big decision, right? You're looking to spend 4 to 5 years, right, in a pivotal point in your life and growing, um, transitioning into manhood, right? And so I would just say, make sure you owe it to yourself to have a list of priorities of what you want to see and accomplish over the next 4 to 5 years that you're spending at that university and within that organization. What do you want to see on the back end? It's like look at it like a savings account, right? If you don't start a savings, me personally, I like my automatic deposit into a savings account. I don't even want to look at it because if you put it on me, I know myself. If I'm in charge of manually putting money into a savings account, I'm going to fail 10 out of 10 times, right? So what I mean by that is you got to know what do you want to accomplish on the back end before you walk in to that organization, right, and university.
That's great
Excellent. Thank
advice.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, we got Cameron Melvin. Cameron, question for the coach.
Yes, sir. What do you think athletes struggle with the most when it comes to transferring from high school ball to college ball and college ball to pro ball?
Oh, that's a really good one. Okay, so and it kind of goes back to time, right? Intentionality with their time. The speed of everything picks up. Okay, so from high school, and let me reverse back a little bit. We always I don't know about you guys. I always got told um, I'm in elementary school. Hey, this stuff ain't gonna fly once you hit middle school, right? And then you're in middle school and you're like, that the teacher was lying to me. Just like this is easy, right? And then you go middle school to high school, and it's the same deal. You hear the same story, right? This isn't gonna fly in high school, all right? Then you get to high school and you're like, this is easy, right? And then I will say this: once you get from high school to college, the speed changes, and especially as a collegiate athlete, that you got to understand that um, the guys on the other side, when I'm talking about the coaches, they have their livelihood and their kids they got to put food on the table for their kids, right? So if I'm coaching you guys, I'm trusting you guys to show up to our meeting prepared, because if not, my baby girl may not be able to eat come after fall, and we have a terrible output. No, that's not on you guys, right? That is partly on me, right? I shouldn't say 100%, right? Because I still believe it's a team oriented deal where everybody's involved with it. But what I am saying is coaches do put a lot of pressure on players, and it's the environment that a lot of players aren't used to. I'll say that. And the speed of everything picks up. So we may have an install on Monday. You better get the install on the Friday before, as early before, to show up on Monday ready to roll, right? There is no, I shouldn't say there is no learning, right? But the learning curve is drastic. And then now from college to NFL, it's the same way. You got to go. You got to go. There is no time to waste, and so the expectation, the bar raises for every level you go up, and the expectation is to come prepared, right? And it goes back to intentionality with time. How am I using my time? Um, and really, right, showing up with everything ready to go, okay, and being prepared of what's to come down the road. So I would to round out what I'm saying, I would really lean on intentionality with time, preparation, and be ready for the speed to pick up every level you go up, from high school to college to the NFL.
Yes, sir.
So it's interesting when you said speed. I was thinking game speed, athlete speed,
Yeah,
which I'm sure you meant. But you're also talking about the speed with which you grasp a concept or the speed with which you learn something new. So that's interesting.
yeah, and I think and that comes, to be honest with you, is just as you grow, you're gonna get faster. And the time you spend in the weight room, that naturally comes. It's the mental side of things that, at least just from the seat I've sat in, where that's the biggest difference is the speed, um, in which those guys are able to play mentally. Because I was shocked by it when I first got, to the NFL and around training camp and watching guys move. It wasn't always the most athletically gifted guys that were cream rises to the top. It wasn't always the most athletic guys rising to the top. It was the guys that were usually, don't get me wrong, they were athletic, right? But they were much sharper mentally than the man next to them. And that's the one thing that, I didn't get in high school, is coaches telling me the jump mentally from high school to college and college to the NFL.
Yeah,
And
that was
that's,
my next question. Like, how much training are these kids getting? These athletes that are, whether it's college or in the NFL, on the mental side of it. I mean, I think every team has a mental coach, correct?
yep, yep. If they don't, I recommend it. That's one thing. Previously at Oregon, like Dan Lanning is amazing about. They have these things called Get Real as well, but in terms of mental coach, they do deep dives in weekly, just from anything under the sun. It's all aspects of your life as a collegiate athlete, and that's one thing that, I'll take with me forever, end of time, from what I saw when you talk about a mental coach, is taking a deep dive, um, into how you carry yourself, right? What is your perspective on this? How do you talk to yourself? We're just talking about, self confidence and your self talk. And they did a great job Dan Lanning did a great job of putting together basically weekly deals we did with players where one day, just talking about self-talk, it's pulling clips of Aaron Donald talking to himself like he's a 13-year-old kid about to go out for a 13U championship, right, with his team, and he's in the Super Bowl. This is against the Patriots at the time, but the mental talk, like you're a bad dude. You talk about dudes, right? Do you call yourself a dude, right? And it's amazing. We talk about the mental side of the game, and that's where I sit. That's the biggest difference is the mental aspect that those guys carry with themselves, and the confidence those guys carry for themselves. It's they may trip, but I'll tell you what, like Baker Mayfield, that dude thinks he's the baddest dude alive. You may not agree, right? And he may not always play like he's the baddest dude alive, but I can guarantee you the dude is telling himself like bet against me, see what happens. And I think there's power in that. I think I truly believe there's power into walking with that type of confidence day in and day out, especially in this profession, just football in general. You got to have that. I mean, we've all been around sport. You're in a room full of alpha males. You know what I mean? And so you got to have some confidence about yourself. You got to have some charisma. You got to have some juice about yourself.
Yeah, I got other things that I'd say to my guys, but we can't say it here. But, yeah, the juice. But the thing is, like, one of my favorite sayings is you'll never outperform your self-worth. Yep. So if you think you're okay, you're not going to be great. You're just going to be okay.
Yep.
So, like, we have to build our self-worth up to get better, right?
Yep.
Because if we have to get our standards up. Like, I'm glad you brought up Baker, because I was going to ask you, is he one of the most underrated, like, competitors you've ever seen?
Yeah, like the dude. Yeah,
you want him in the alley with you, right?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like that dude. Yeah, he is not. Oh, I know he gets animated at times, but just being around him, he's tunnel focused until that moment. That the animation that Baker has is an end result of something that was building up. You know what I mean? That was a release.
Yeah, it's a release. Yeah. You got a question, Nick? Because I got one if you don't.
I do.
Hold
actually.
on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, Nick.
So, Coach Somerville, thank you again for joining us. Just a little background on these four student athletes. Not only they succeed on the field, but they're outstanding in the classroom.
Yeah.
So, they really put forth the effort and make a difference in a leadership capacity. So I got a quick question, and they come from outstanding families as well. We've had a chance to meet their parents and just salt of the earth families. But my question to you in regarding parents, what advice can you give parents as their sons or daughters are going through the recruiting process?
So I would the biggest piece of advice I would say, and this is difficult at times. This is coming from an older brother perspective, walking my brother through it, being in it, walking my brother through it, and I had to check myself at times, but is to not do not put what you have. How I want to word this. Do not perpetuate your vision of your son or daughter, right, of what you want them to accomplish, okay, and set it in stone the roadmap they need to go. I would say broaden the roadmap, okay, and have some. It goes back to priorities, standards, and basically a code of operation you want to stand by for your son or daughter as they go on that recruiting journey, because I've seen it. It can turn south really quick when mom or dad's mom or dad say, no, you're not going to go there. And then where, from my perspective, it's son, and son says, no, I don't want to go there. Or, um, I'll tell you real, like we've had times where we would win recruiting battles over the kid, but we didn't do a good enough job when over mom and dad, um, and kids crying on signing day, um, and they don't want to go. They don't want to go to said school, right? Um, and what that does, I can't speak on what that does to a relationship between athlete and parents, but I do know that I'm going through with my brother right now. At some point, that you got to hang up the cleats, you got to hang up the sneakers at some point, and then at the end of the day, there's what is the foundation of the relationship, right? And so what I leaned on, I speaking on what I found, because to be honest, with you, I wanted my brother to go to Michigan. I really wanted my brother to go to Michigan. He committed to Michigan. There was a coach there that I absolutely love. And last second, he decided to flip to UCLA. Um, and it takes, from where I sat, it took a lot of trust in him and allow him to go out and make the decision for himself. At the end of the day, though, we were going to make sure that priority number one was academics, and you were going to get a top-notch degree. And to accomplish that, I can live with. Now, is it the place that I would have chose for him? No, I would have. You need to go to Michigan, dude. Like to go play in the big house and hear all that. That would have been awesome. But that ultimately wasn't his where he wanted to go, and so I was okay with that because the most important thing to me was my relationship with my brother, and that's really for me how I got into coaching to begin with. Is if I wasn't with him, I'm not in Tampa right now coaching football. To tell you the truth.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope that answered your question. I had
did.
I had to lean on personal experiences for that one.
Yep. What better way? Thank you.
Go ahead, Alex. Yeah. I got a question, but you can go. Go ahead.
Okay. So obviously, Coach, you're personable. You're good at what you do, but your rise at such a young age. My question was going to be, what would you attribute it to other than you're good at your job? And it's funny, I had this question for a few days, and the more I've talked to you and I've heard you speak, I think I know the answer. But what do you attribute, you know, the success that you've had so early to?
I wrestled with this one, and then I realized as kind of things started to open up, I grew in my faith. To be honest with you, tremendously, and I truly believe everything that is in front of me and my family has already been written. And so I 100% attribute it to the man upstairs, Jesus Christ, and my faith in understanding that I don't have control over the way that the hands that be of hiring process. And so that's really hard. I would say it's very similar to the work you put in as an athlete in the recruiting cycle. Um, to tie that together, it's you may look at it from a standpoint of I have all the same measurables as the guy that they just offered a full ride scholarship offer to. Why am I not receiving that scholarship offer? And that's really hard. I struggled with that as a kid when I was playing high school football, and I'm better than that guy. How is he getting how is he getting what he's getting? And I was looking at it from a wrong perspective. I was looking at other people's plates, to tell you the truth, and I was checking other people's pockets. Um, and I had to turn my perspective tremendously as I grew specifically in the college football coaching profession, is I had to check myself and stop worrying about what others are getting and look at the seat I get to sit in Arizona State. Going back to the beginning, I'm sitting in Arizona State building. They didn't have to let me in. I get to be here. This is a blessing. And kind of I had to shift my perspective in where I was at presently and understand that if I do work my tail off, it's not always going to end up where I want it at the end of the day. But I know at the end of the day, I'm doing the best thing to put me in a position to get me there. And if it doesn't, it's all good. It didn't work out this time. It's going to work out the next time, right? And not having um, a defeatist attitude when things didn't go my way, especially in the sports world, because it's not going to go our way all the time. And we worked our tails off to get to where we are. And so that's the biggest thing I would say.
Yeah, and it's got to give you peace of mind to just let that other stuff go and worry about you, right? It's just don't listen to the noise. Stay focused on what you want to do.
Yep.
And like you said, in the end, it's technically not in your hands. All you can do is what you can do. So.
Yep. Worry about what you can control, man.
Yep.
Amen.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's nice when you know that you're provided for by God. He's got a plan for you, right? That
Yep.
you know he challenges his people, right?
Yep.
And he'll never give you a challenge you can't handle. So, that's awesome. My question is there anything good about the portal?
I think so. At times it can be.
Can you tell these kids how it might impact them and how to deal with that, or do you like it? I mean, it's driving me. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah. It goes back to your intentions as to why you're getting into the portal. I'll say that. Because some guys will get into the portal looking for money. Some guys will jump into the portal as a threat to their coaches because, hey, I'm not playing enough. I need a guarantee of playing time, and I agree with you that it's not building the right attitude and the right approach of how life is gonna treat you on the back end. I will say this though, the portal has given guys the opportunity to. Some guys need to move back home, be closer to family. Some guys, it wasn't. The recruiting process was very different than how it is in the organization now, and that may happen.
Well, that's how it was designed. Right? That was the whole reason they designed it that way for that for those purposes.
Yeah, and it was really to protect the players from the recruiting process can be very different from once you're actually in the organization.
Or if you get recruited and then that coach leaves, you know, now you're on a campus, you don't even know the new coach, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely. And so that's where I lean on what are you using the portal for, right? And on top of that, I would be, because I had a lot of our guys in Arizona, TJ would reach out and ask me about it. At the end of the day, I would say protect yourself and make sure you know where you jump into a portal, know what's on the other side. Because some of the worst things I've seen are guys that are on full ride scholarships and they jump in the portal and they say, hey, I'm leaving. Okay, well, if you're going to leave, like they're going to fill that scholarship number, right? So if you decide, let's say, hey, I know it's not transfer window right now, but it's February 29th. I'm going to jump in the transfer portal right now, February 29th. Your scholarship then is going to end after the spring semester. Where are you going to go after that? So you need to have a plan of action, right? And narrow down where am I going on the backside of the portal. Because a lot of guys will jump in and they have no idea what the whole portal and how that works, and there's nothing waiting for them. And so they just gave up a scholarship, a full ride scholarship, and gave it up because they weren't happy with their playing time, or they didn't like this, that, and the third, right, about the organization of the university, and now they're left with nothing, and they're back home.
Yeah. So, Brisbane, you're going to be on campus next year, right?
Yep.
And how far away from home is that?
Well, I guess it depends. From here it's 3 hours, which to me is not that much at all because Montana's a lot bigger state and everything's further away. But I feel like some other people east, it might be a long ways to them, but not too bad.
Yeah. Well,
Airport.
congratulations on the scholarship.
Yeah, thank you. It's really exciting, and I can't wait.
Yeah. And now, Cameron, you got 2 more years of high school?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Good for you.
Camden, same as you, right, Camden?
Yeah.
Yep. And Bryce, you have 3 more years, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Some young ones.
And Camden, watching, I saw some videos of you moving some weight around. What are you squatting now?
I got 585, but sometime next week we're gonna have a makeup day. I'm gonna try to go back for 6.
And you're 16?
Yeah.
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 That's crazy.
Was Quentin doing that at 16?
No, Quincy can't do that at 21.
I was doing that yesterday. That was
Can't even do a squat.
that was 500. That was 500 Orioles.
Well, thanks, guys. I'll let Nick close us out with our social media stuff, and this is awesome. We'll get it up on YouTube, and we'll post some small clips on Instagram. And again, Jordan, awesome, man. It's great seeing you.
Great seeing you.
Can't wait to see you again in person. And when you're in town, let me know. We'll go have lunch.
Yes, sir.
If is Tampa playing Denver this year?
No.
No.
No Denver. We got LA though. Chargers.
Mm-hmm. All right, maybe. Well, these guys are out there, so maybe we'll have to make that a trip and come see you.
Yeah, come on.
All right,
Definitely, Coach Somerville. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brisbane, thank you so much. Bryce, thank you for your time. Camden, Cameron, thank you very much. You can find us on social media on Instagram, Bloodline Sports AZ, X at Bloodline Sports, on TikTok at Bloodline Sports, and on YouTube, which this show will be on at BSN Bloodline Sports Network. And we'll see you soon. By the way, this show is brought to you by Acid Rainwater.
all right. Hey, let's give a shout out, Bryce. Were you just state runner up in wrestling, right?
No, that was another, but he was just in the state for weightlifting, correct, Bryce?
Yes, sir, our teammates.
Yes.
How'd you do?
I'm not a points lifter. I'm the third lifter.
Okay.
So you were lifting up against you're a freshman, so you're up against juniors and seniors,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep working hard, guys. We're proud
Thank
of
you,
you.
Coach. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Talk to you
Thank you
soon.
very much.
All right. Take care.
Thank you all.
Thank you, parents.